Hi everybody, it's your girl, Miss Esther. I'm back here, hey, trying to give you a little bit more history. Sorry it's been so long, once again, but I don't do this full time. So, hey, like and subscribe, share. You want me to do this full time? Get some really fancy sets, a lot of fancy stuff? Hey, why don't you share this, subscribe, and maybe I can do this full time. Okay. All right, everybody. So the last time we talked, I was so distressed over all the shooting, and since then, there's been more shooting. So I would like to speak to you about two subjects, and I'm trying to do them very quickly. That's guns, and also I want to speak to you briefly about Roe v. Wade, both situations which are so important right now. So remember, in the history of America, guns have always been important. They are important not just for protection, and there wasn't a lot of protection back then. You really had to have your guns, but also for meat. I mean, they didn't have Fry's Supermarket and Safeway like we do here in the Phoenix Valley. They literally had to go out and hunt their meat and skin it and all that good stuff. Okay, so it was important, but generationally this has gone on in people through the years, generationally. And so they're like, hey, we have to have our guns for protection. We have to, and we have a right to be armed. You'll see where people, when they try to disarm them, they fight back. There's this whole thing about it. And it is important that people do have the right to arm themselves even today. I'm going to get a little bit into that a little more, but I have to deal with the situation where you have people who are on record for being totally insane. Trouble with the policemen. They're on social media talking about they're going to kill everybody. And yet they can go and get a gun legally. Okay, I really think that there should be a database where people who sell guns can get an app and have access to that database so that they will know who is red flagged and who is not. Okay, but outside of that, any regular, just normal American citizen should be able to get a gun. Now, a lot of people say, well, you don't need a gun for protection. But, a lot of people are still breaking into folks' house. You need a gun for that if you want that. And also, people feel like in America that we can never be touched. We're untouchable. But we're not. We can still be invaded. I don't care how great you think you are. You can be invaded. Now, some of us, there are a lot of us who are not, we don't need guns. We don't feel like we need guns in our lives. But if we get invaded, I will be, trying to help anyone that can help fight to keep us free. Okay? So guns are important. So we cannot underestimate how important they are, how important they've been in our history, and why people feel that way. It is for a reason. And if I had more time, we could go into it a little bit more, but please just leave your comment and we can discuss it then. Now let's quickly talk about Roe v. Wade. A lot of people I've noticed on social media, especially on Facebook, people screaming about, oh, they've taken away people's right for abortion and all that. Okay, now first of all, let me just tell you, so especially if you're thinking about subscribing, I'm not even going to play with you, okay? I'm a conservative. I'm not right-wing, don't get me wrong. I have some issues with conservatives, and I will talk about that. I don't think that conservatives do everything right, and I'm not a Republican either, okay? But my belief system is more biblical, more conservative, okay? So when I say these things, I say them just as facts, okay? Abortion has not been made illegal in the United States. It has just been given to the power of the states. This is a good thing. It is a very good thing. And why? Let's go back in history. These United States did not start as one country. And we are a country, but we are countries amongst one country. Now, let me explain that a little bit more. Okay. Everybody knows we have the United States Constitution, right? But before that, we had what was called the Articles of Confederation. In the Articles of Confederation, the state had more power than the federal government. Now, there were some good things about it, but there were some bad things about it. And one of the reasons is, what if a war breaks out? Only Virginia is at war. What about New York? You know, they needed to come together so that they would be stronger to fight off anyone that would try to take over the continent, okay? All right, so that was an important thing. Another thing that was important, and there are several things, but these are some of the two main things, was the money system. Did you know that these different colonies had different money systems? Because they were all separate countries. The early fathers considered these different colonies their countries. You know, like New York was their country, and Virginia was their country, and things like that. And so the United States are the United countries. It's always been like so awesome that every state had their different rules. I came up in between states. Even though I came up in Michigan, I'm as much a Hoosier as I am a Michigander because I was only 15 minutes from Indiana. And throughout my life, there were always different rules. In Indiana, for the longest, you didn't have to wear a helmet if you were on a motorcycle. But as soon as they would cross the line, we would sit there and watch people cross the line, and they'd have to put a helmet on because in Michigan, you had to have a helmet. I think they've changed that now, but for decades, it was that way. The drinking ages at one point were different in the states. Cigarette taxes were different in the states. So on the border, you would have people selling things. It's crazy, you know, but they were different states. And even when I was young, I think the only state that you could even gamble in was Nevada. So every other state it was illegal in. So I tell you, you know, this is the uniqueness of the United States. It's that not that you are enforcing one law on everybody all the time. No, every state has their individual concept. And so it's nice. It's like the governor is the president of the state, you know, it's really nice. And the people of that state vote in who they want to be their governor and their legislators. That is their vote. If they want a more conservative government, then they will have a more conservative government. And so if they want a more liberal one, then they will. So you're going to have your liberal governments, you're going to have your conservative governments. And we need to accept that. This is all about the tolerance that we have in the United States. It's a good thing. Okay. So I just wanted to just briefly, and don't just take my word for it, go back in history and see that this whole mindset that everybody's got to believe like this, like everyone has to be liberal or everyone has to be conservative. No, we need toleration, you know. And so when the power is given back to the state, that is a good thing, because then people can make a decision if they want to live in a more conservative state or a more liberal state. Me, yes, I definitely want to live in a more conservative state. And so just know that abortion was not made illegal. You just wouldn't believe some of the things that I've seen online, that people don't understand that, okay? But you may not be able to get it in your state. If it's more conservative, you may have to go to another state. That's just the way that it is, okay? And this is, you don't want a state where they control everything and control everybody, because those in control may be very contrary to what you believe, and you would have to be forced to believe that. So you want to keep freedom of belief. You want that, if you want that liberty, this is the way that it needs to be, okay? All right, anyhow, make a comment about that if you want to. There's just so many things going on right now. And I just want to give you just a brief history about that. And just, you know, people, we can make it through this. We can still be a strong government. We can still be a strong country, but we do need to understand our history and understand how this country operates. Everyone's not going to believe like you, and that's what makes this country great. It's that you have the freedom to believe differently than others, and you have a right to vote in office who you want and what type of government you would like to be a part of. And when the states have that, it makes it really nice. All right. Hey guys, I'm going to let you go right now, and I will be back as soon as possible. I'm not sure when, but as soon as I can. Hey, like, subscribe. The more people that subscribe, the more I can do this, right? You want me to do this full time? Hey, share it. Okay, guys, it's been nice talking to you, and I hope for the best for you. And my heart and prayers go out to those that have been in these shootings, all these shootings of the last of all this year. It's sad, and I'm very sorry about it. And I really, truly hope that things will improve. Thank you so much. God bless.